All right, so if you read the title of today's video, don't worry, no, my Etsy shop did not get shut down. It's in quotation marks because I've heard this sentence uttered so many times lately on TikTok and on YouTube videos, read it on Twitter, and it seems like a lot of people out there struggle with their Etsy shops getting shut down. And it doesn't just have to be Etsy. It can be Redbubble, it can be merch by Amazon. This is something that applies to a lot of different spaces to where you can sell merchandise. So that's the topic of today's video. How do you prevent this from happening? We're going to talk about IP infringement, talk about trademarks, copyrights, the differences between them. So hopefully you can prevent this from happening to you. So with this video, I'm going to kind of base this off of a TikTok video that I saw the other day. Now, I'm not going to show the videos on screen. I don't want to put the user on blast. I just want to use this kind of as a case study of what can happen when you do things wrong and things you need to look out for. So this user has a little under 5,000 followers on TikTok. And this video that I saw the other day that came up while I was scrolling has 36,000 views right now. And we'll go ahead and click on it. I'm just going to kind of read you. She's got captions on the screen to tell you exactly what happened. So I Need Your Help is the main thumbnail here. And it said, I have had an Etsy shop for almost 3 years now. I had almost 9,000 sales. And I just got an email today that my account is permanently suspended due to copyright infringement. I don't sell any Disney, Harry Potter, sports related things. The things that were copyright infringement was a cup that said Basic Grinch on a Starbucks cup. I should have done more research and saw that the word Grinch was copyrighted. So this is one thing I'm going to kind of point out here right now. The word Grinch is not copyrighted. We're going to get to that in a second when we talk about trademarks and copyright. But when you see so much stuff about the Grinch on Etsy, you don't really think that it's an issue. This is another thing we're going to talk about here in a little bit too. Just because you see other people doing things or listing things on Etsy, on merch, by Amazon, on Redbubble, don't assume that it's okay to do. That's not an excuse, so we're going to talk more about that. My Etsy shop is my full-time income, and now it's gone, and I don't know what to do. Another thing we're going to talk about here in a second. With that, Etsy shop was a full-time income. This person relied on one stream of income from a platform that they have no ownership over. It's somebody else making the decisions. They can cancel your account, delete it at any time, and that's what happened. That's why it's so important when I've talked about having multiple streams of income and not having all of your eggs in one basket. This is a perfect example. I've sent an appeal. I can't hear back for 2 weeks, and even then it's not guaranteed. I'm just beside myself, and I don't know what to do next. So if you've been in this position, please let me know what you did. Okay, so like I said, 30-some thousand views, 1,491 likes, there's almost 500 comments. And going through the comments, a lot of people suggested opening up a Shopify store, which is actually the topic of the following video for this user. So I'm going to click on that next. Somebody said, I want to start an Etsy shop with this fun seasonal stuff. Do you not recommend? And she says, I don't recommend selling on Etsy. I've never used Shopify before, but after seeing everyone's comments, I'm going to open up my own website on Shopify. I would recommend that to you. There's no point on selling on Etsy when they clearly don't care about their sellers. Correction, they only care about their bigger sellers who are bringing them the most money. All right, so that's the end of that video. So something here to bring up too, which I've talked about before. Like I said, this user for just under 5,000 followers on TikTok. I think she said, 9,000 sales. So obviously not all those people following or buying something. Some of the TikTok community that she has is going over and purchasing things, but a lot of that is coming from organic traffic. And opening a Shopify store, you're not going to have the same organic traffic that you're going to have on Etsy. That's why it's important to play things by the rules on Etsy to take advantage of that shopper base that's there. You want to make sure that you're minding the rules, that you're paying attention and making sure everything is good to go, because you don't want to lose that organic traffic that Etsy offers. I can tell you right now, opening a Shopify store, there's not going to be nearly the same amount of sales for this user as they were getting on Etsy. So that's why it's important to play it safe. So let's go ahead then. She had mentioned too that It was the Grinch, the basic Grinch item on a Starbucks cup, which caused the copyright infringement. So I'm not sure with Etsy, sometimes they don't go into full details. They can say, okay, this was the offending item. So if it was the Grinch or basic Grinch. Now, like I said, Grinch is not copyrighted, the word Grinch, because you cannot copyright a word. A word is trademarked. So let's talk about the difference between trademarks and copyrights. A trademark is a word, symbol, design, or phrase that denotes a specific product and differentiates it from similar products. Copyrights protect original works of authorship, such as writings, art, architecture, and music. All right, so there you go. Copyrights are for art, for music, for architecture, stuff like that. Trademarks are actually for the words. If it is an image that is trademarked, it is a logo or something that kind of denotes a brand. So if you think about the Nike swoosh, or if you think about the Starbucks mermaid, those are trademarks because they're a logo that identifies the brand. That's the main difference. With this, like I said, if it was a copyright case, it would not be for the word Grinch. That would be a trademark. I could see this being an issue because this has become something that's huge too on Etsy, is a lot of people buying the Starbucks cups and then customizing them. Now, a lot of people here think it's okay because I paid for the cup, but with that, the sale is still based around that Starbucks logo, and Starbucks is not really going to want that out there. They want to have control over their branding, over what is added to their brand. So if there's something derogatory that's added to their cup, they don't want people confusing that for being something they put out. Perfect example of this is, was it last year, the year before, Lil Nas X came out with the Satan shoes that were Nikes. Of course, the company that produced these, they bought the Nikes. They were real Nikes. However, they just added the extra satanic stuff, added the drops of blood in there, and Nike sent that cease and desist letter that told them stop selling the shoes. So this kind of is the same thing here. I see a lot of people selling these Starbucks cups, and they think, well, the logo is already on there. I'm not printing it, so I can do it. It's just customizing it. And this isn't like customizing, say, a jean jacket. If you've got a Levi's jacket that you're adding paint or customization to, people aren't buying that jean jacket because it's a Levi's jacket that's been customized. People are buying that because it's got your artwork, or it's customized, or it has something else to it. People are buying these cups because it has that Starbucks logo, and these sellers know that's why it's selling. Otherwise, why wouldn't you just use basic cups? It's gonna be cheaper, but they're using the brand recognition from Starbucks to make sales. And that's one thing that you can really use kind of as that line in the sand and a way to judge if something is something you should sell or not. Is someone buying this because they know what it is from, say, another retailer, or from a movie, or from a song, or from a TV show? If so, you're probably infringing on somebody. So how do you know if something's trademarked? Well, there's a website out there that you can go to. It's a government website called uspto.gov, and there's a trademark search. You can search through basic words or combine words to see if it's trademarked. You also need to click on the trademark itself to see what class it falls under. So when people file for a trademark, it's going to be trademarked by class. So it could be for t-shirts, or it could be for cooking utensils. There's going to be so many different classes, and you need to make sure that whatever word you're using does not fall under that class. So that's trademark. Copyright's a little bit different, and for me, I think it's a little bit easier to understand. It's going to be based off of, like I said, arts, music, movies, TV shows, books, architecture, stuff like that. I think this one's pretty cut and dry, and people confuse it once again with trademarks. They'll look up something on the trademark site and say, well, it's not trademarked. No, it's because it's part of a copyright of an intellectual property that somebody owns. And that's what we'll talk about next with this. She had said also, I don't do any Disney stuff. I don't do any sports stuff, but yet going through her shop then, well, I can't go through her shop. I can go through her TikTok feed of stuff that she was advertising. She's showing phone cases with cute little ghosts on them, which is perfectly fine. But then also in this one, she then shows the next phone case, which is a Buddy the Elf phone case from the movie, which would be copyrighted. So once again, I didn't do anything wrong, just this one time. And I hear that a lot too, that people feel very singled out. And I just messed up this once and I didn't know, or I didn't realize because other people were doing that. And that's really what it comes down to, is ignorance is not a defense for messing up on Etsy. It's not a defense for breaking these copyright or trademark laws. You really have to do your due diligence, especially with a user like this who makes it their entire livelihood, puts all their eggs in one basket. You really need to make sure if you're doing that, you're protecting yourself so this doesn't happen. Let's keep going on. Here is a shirt with characters from, let's see, there's The Craft, there's Addams Family, and there is Beetlejuice. Next one we have, oh, it's a Jack Skellington from Nightmare Before Christmas shirts. Going down, we have a customized, not a customized, but a Starbucks mug that they made into like a weightlifting type of thing. So once again, infringing on the Starbucks logo. This is an interesting one. It's got a stack of dollar bills on it and says, "I know I'm fine, but the money makes me handsomer," which are the lyrics to a song. Song lyrics fall under copyright. You cannot do song lyrics. Once again, if somebody's buying your piece of merchandise or your artwork because it's recognizable for something else, don't do it. That's the easiest way that I can explain this. It's super simple. If the reason they're buying it is because, like, oh, that's from my favorite book, or that's a line from my movie, you're using that IP, that intellectual property, to fuel your sales. You don't own the rights to it, so do not do it. Going down some more, we have an actual Dr. Seuss image on a mug with a Let's Go Brandon poem on it. That's pretty nice. Yeah, and there's just one after another here. So as you can see, it was, hey, you got caught for the one. There was a bunch of other stuff that could have got the account taken down. Likewise with this, going back to, well, there's a lot of people out there that do worse than this, that their whole pages are filled with Disney. That's not an excuse. They're eventually going to get their shops taken down as well. And here's the key in why Etsy takes down shops like this, is because if any of these companies come after the copyright infringement or the trademark, they're going to come after Etsy. Etsy has a lot more money than any individual seller does. So if there's going to be a lawsuit filed, if they're going to come after somebody for damages, it's going to be Etsy. Likewise here, if you go ahead and go off of Etsy, if you start your own Shopify store, nobody's going to sit there and take down your stuff. They're actually going to come after you. For people like this that don't do their due diligence, they don't understand the copyright, the trademarks. They don't understand how to branch out and not rely on one source of income. I'm assuming too, they probably don't have their businesses set up as a business. So this is probably just somebody that's selling their things under their name. When they file taxes, they file it under their social security number. So it's going to be a sole proprietorship. They haven't had this set up as an LLC, which is limited liability company. So having a limited liability company relieves you as an individual of liability. It's the business that any lawsuits would come after. In this case, if they don't have that, once again, you've got your Shopify store, you're the one that owns it. They're coming after you as an individual. And obviously these companies have a lot more money than what you're gonna have to fight it, to take it to court. So you're gonna have no way to fight it. You're just basically gonna have to accept their terms, and that's gonna put you in a super horrible financial situation, which you don't wanna have happen. I know there's other instances out there where people will have something that they do and think it's okay because it falls under fair use, under parody. But to be honest, once again, I wouldn't mess around with it, because to prove that it's parody, you're gonna have to take it to a court, you're gonna have to hire a lawyer, you're gonna have to go in front of a judge. Once again, these companies that are gonna sue you have a lot more money than what you do to be able to take it and prove it, so it's just not worth it. Steer clear of anything that anybody else owns. If it's IP that's owned by another company, another individual, just do not mess with it. Come up with original ideas on your own. So just kind of wrap up the case study on this user. I'm gonna flip through a little bit more and see if there's any red flags that pop up. Here we've got a Grey's Anatomy mug. Here we have a No Lives Matter t-shirt with Michael Myers and Freddy and Leatherface and Jason on it. Got more Starbucks stuff. Here's Vampire Diaries stuff. So as you can see, this wasn't a case of just one instance of, oh, I didn't know. This was blatantly being done over and over again. Of course, now the shop's gone, so you can't even go in there and see that. But like I said, I can see here on everything she's advertising on the TikTok. So this was somebody that was doing it repeatedly, knew that they probably shouldn't, and now they get caught. Now their entire livelihood is gone. So I'm sorry, it's really hard to feel sorry for somebody that blatantly disregards other people's properties like this, blatantly disregards understanding law and copyright. All right, so last thing I want to talk about, separate from the artwork and copyright and trademark side of that, is talking about the listings themselves. When you make the listing on Etsy or Amazon or Redbubble or wherever you have, you want to make sure you're not infringing on any trademarks there, just like you want to make sure you're not infringing on any trademarks or copyrights with the design. So when you make the listing title, when you make the body of the listing, even when you make the tags, you've got to make sure that there are no trademark words or phrases in there. You've got to make sure that you're not using another word to sell your product, which maybe is what happened with this user. So that thing that got her banned from Etsy, the Grinch or basic Grinch Starbucks cup, it might not have even been Grinch. It might have been because she put Starbucks in the title or in the body, or a lot of people think that they're gonna kind of get around the system, and if they put it in the tags, it's okay because people aren't gonna see it right there up at the top. But that's not the case. You can get dinged for having it in all three of those areas, and you wanna make sure that you're not using those trademarked words. So if your design is kind of based around something and you think, well, I didn't say this, or I didn't use this exact phrase, or I didn't use the exact image, and then you put the tag in the bottom, let's say like Hocus Pocus. So if you're doing a Hocus Pocus shirt, and well, I didn't use any of the words from the movie, but I kind of used the silhouettes of, you know, the three main characters, and I didn't put Hocus Pocus in the title or in the body of the listing, but I know if I put it down here, people are gonna see it. Yeah, you're gonna get dinged there. Another thing to keep in mind with this too is there are a lot of trademarks and copyrights out there that you might not even think of. So trademarks here, I just kind of grabbed this out to show you. What is this? A lot of people would say this is Kleenex, but it's not. This is Sam's Club. This is Members Mark. This is facial tissue. So Kleenex, even though that word has become synonymous with what this product is, Kleenex is a trademark. Same thing goes with onesies. This is, I think, one of the main problems that people have when they start out selling on Etsy is they will put onesies up and they will put onesie in the title and in the tags and in the body of the listing. So Gerber actually owns the trademark to onesie. Onesies become synonymous with what it is, but it's basically a baby one-piece suit. It's not a onesie, you can't use that term. There's some other things out there, same thing with Band-Aids. So Band-Aid brand is a brand. Band-Aid owns Band-Aids. They're actually adhesive bandages. We kind of, as a people and as a culture, just use the brand name to describe what it is. So that's something that you have to look out for too. There's so many things that you need to know when you start going out there and selling on your own, and hopefully this video kind of gave you a step forward in understanding some of that stuff. If you have anything to add to the conversation, definitely leave a comment down below if it can help somebody out. And if you did get some valuable information out of today's video, do me a favor, give me a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit that bell for notifications so you can get alerted when I post new videos. Do all kinds of drawing art tutorials on the channel, as well as talking about making money with your art and things that tie into it, kind of like today's topic. So that's it for me. I can also be found online at bjdell.com, as well as on Instagram and Twitter at bjdell. So until next time, keep creating.